boots may have been made for walking, but like most footwear, form has taken preference over function. Espresso's Kia Johnson spends hours on her feet, and those heels are beginning to take their toll.
Ugh, I hate my shoes. They look so good, but they hurt so bad.
And Kia's not alone. Most women love stilettos and will part with more than just a penny for the perfect pair. Kia recently visited a podiatrist to find out how much they were really costing her.
Now, doctor, I absolutely love heels, but what exactly are they doing to my body?
It's doing so much to your body that you should be aware of. A heel raises your actual heel, and when your heel is raised, your center of gravity pushes forward. That's going to mess up lots of things, primarily the ball of your foot, your ankles, your knees, your hips, and obviously your lower back. That's just the basics. It can cause problems with toes. They can become clawed like this, which isn't very pleasant on a young lady. It can cause bunions, which are very, very unpleasant. It can cause nerve entrapments, where nerves become trapped inside the ball of the foot. And did you know, Kia, that just a 3-inch heel will raise the pressure in the ball of your foot by 76%.
So what about stilettos?
Stilettos, primarily with their very thin, high heel, cause lots of problems. The biggest issue is they shorten your Achilles tendon. That's a bad thing because it makes your calf muscle, although shapely, also very short. So when you do need to walk flat, you don't have that power in your calf muscle anymore and your feet get tired and sore. They also cause lots of pressure in the ball of your foot, and you lose the padding in the ball of the foot, which means you're going to walk soon on your bones.
Flip-flops and flat shoes?
Flip-flops are lovely, they're nice, but they're good for the beach and not necessarily good for anything else. The problem is, though, that they don't have something to hold around the back of your heel. So your foot's going to do all the work to keep that shoe on your foot. Your toes need to grip down to hold the shoe against your foot. That causes your feet to tire out. So by the time you get over from the beach and you want to go into your flat shoes, I'm afraid your feet are so tired, now they need a little bit of support and help, and your flat shoes are so thin with absolutely no support, nothing in the arch, that by the time you go to bed, you're going to wish you just wore your tackies out.
Kids grow up so fast that we often forget they're still developing. Many children love dressing up and trying on high heels, and Rachel is no exception.
So young ladies like this ask me all the time about wearing heels like they see on TV or like they see that their mummies are wearing. The problem with little feet that are still growing is that the foot isn't properly developed yet. So even a small heel on an 8-year-old or similar age is equivalent to a very large heel on an adult. So it's not a good idea to wear a heel on a young lady. So it's preferable to keep her in good, flat, nice, proper shoes with correct support with the type of flexibility to the sole. School shoes for young ladies should really have a couple of features to them. It's preferable in any young person's foot that the sole of the shoe should not be as rigid as this. We want the toe and the heel to come together very easily, and with my effort I still can't get them together. This hinders the foot's progress and development. What we should do is incorporate the good parts of the shoe, which is the fact that it sits across the top of the foot and supports the foot over the upper, as well as having a heel counter that's closed into a sole that's much more flexible. In that regard, this is a much better school shoe. It looks more or less the same, but it's a lot more flexible in its sole. It's a very wide sole, and it allows for the foot to develop and move freely without any hindrance whatsoever. So little people's feet are very important. In this little foot, we primarily have cartilage. There isn't much bone growing just yet. It often takes up to 18 to 21 years until he's a big man for this foot to develop correctly. So we definitely don't want to compress it at all in a shoe that's either too tight or a rigid sole or a shoe that we think will last us through perhaps a school year. It's preferable, if it's not too cold, to make sure he walks around barefoot. All little people should run around barefoot. That allows the foot to interact with the ground properly, and the nerves can pick up what's happening under the feet, send messages to the brain, and the foot can understand what the surfaces of the ground feels like. When we do buy shoes, because it's too cold, in little feet like these, it's very nice to have a little thing like this, which is really just an upper and a bottom. It's primarily leather, it's completely and utterly flexible, it has no functionality in it, it's really a very comfortable little slipper.
You may have been encouraged to walk a day in someone else's shoes, but don't take this too literally, because in practice, size really does count.
It's very important to size the shoe correctly. It's absolutely a myth to make sure the shoe is a size smaller than your foot. You need sufficient space. Your feet take a pounding when you're running. Here is an ordinary, good, brand new pair of running shoes. It is always a good idea to use your adult thumb's width distance between the front of the shoe and your longest toe, not your biggest toe, not necessarily your longest, as well as to have sufficient space in the width of the shoe. Some vital factor that people miss always is the depth of this toe box. There should be sufficient space to be able to play with your toes. A shoe should ultimately be replaced when they are worn out, not when they look worn out, but when the sole has collapsed. There's an easy way to tell about that, and it's all about the compressibility of this midsole. There's a way we do that, and we take our thumbs on either side facing each other and we compress that area together. And where it compresses, where it folds, if it's in the middle, that's where the midsole is collapsed. Most new shoes would compress towards the outsole. That's when you replace a running shoe.
So what can I do to keep these tortured toes happy?
Wear the right shoes, first and foremost. Be kind to your feet. You only have one pair that lasts your whole lifetime. They carry your whole body's weight, your whole life. An average person in an average day carries an equivalent of 7 tons of force into one foot in one day. Then, if you're in the right shoes, look after them. Wear the right socks. Look after the skin. Make sure you're using correct moisturizing creams. Don't cut calluses and corns off yourself. Go and get someone to help you to do that for you. Cut your nails properly across. Pamper your feet every now and then. Take them to a spa, nothing wrong with that. And generally just take anything that's not happy, pain or reddening or swelling, to a podiatrist.
Oprah Winfrey once said, "I still have my feet on the ground, I just wear better shoes." Take her advice and choose better shoes. It's good for your soles.